Okay, so now we have a second wave with no catapult. Catapult is still back here fighting this.
Yeah.
It is now stacked for itself, by the way. This catapult is playing the efficiency game, man. Look at this thing. Let's put it on free camera. Yo, yo, look at this. Oh, he hits at the 53. Dude, the
Oh,
attack lands at 53.
dang.
Dude, this guy's a fucking gamer. Look at that.
Dude.
Oh, yeah, perfect stack. Oh, look at that. That's fucking hilarious.
Hell yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to Weekly Coaching. This is number 21. Last week we were still working on Beastmaster, and the homework was to actually start buying Helm of the Dominator, Helm of the Overlord, look for range creeps. Don't worry about microing too much, but start integrating the micro on that extra unit in our games. So, Dookie, how were the last week's games for you?
So it's kind of like pretty up and down.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'll say the positive is I feel really good about controlling other units now.
Okay,
Um,
good, good.
not like, like, oh, I'm doing a lot with them, but I messed around with my control groups
Mm-hmm.
and now I feel pretty comfortable, like, oh, I can press this and select Beastmaster plus all my units, or I can just select
Yeah.
Beastmaster, or I can just select my units. I
Okay,
feel
that's good.
decently comfortable with that. I haven't done too many like um advanced things with it, but now it's like if I go to attack something and something's hitting my boars instead of my hero, I'll just like click the boars and take them back and then have them attack again. Little things
Okay.
like that.
Okay. All right. So micro is getting easier. What was MMR change, by the way, before we go?
MMR is at 2589.
2589. The slight drop while
So
we're learning this. That's to be expected,
yeah.
though.
So the thing about these games, and this is kind of like the weird thing, I don't feel like these games have mostly been like this is a loss, um, because I'm like not nailing the Beastmaster mechanics.
Okay. So it feels like uh, incidental, kind of.
It feels more like uh just like rough lanes
Yeah.
and things kind of going wrong, like laning wise, that aren't really a because especially with the build I've been going in lane, I've been taking boar late
Hmm.
and then focusing mostly on axes.
Okay.
So it's not like there's like some sort of like super intense, you know, control thing that I have going on that's like, oh, I can't, I'm
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
playing
Yeah.
Visage and I'm
It's not
diving
like,
into
oh, I'm losing my lane every time because I can't handle the micro. It's like, well, that's not
yeah.
it, right? So, okay. Um, and
You did
anything
get a good
else?
Beastmaster win.
Yeah, I noticed that one, and that one said your averages were way higher than normal.
Yeah.
I noticed this. I think it was this first one. You didn't have Helm because you went for the Axe build instead, but then in all the other ones you went for Helm, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well then, if there's nothing else to note for the week, which game do you want to look at?
I kind of want to look at this last one because I know exactly what I was thinking with it, and
Hmm.
I kind of want to see what your thoughts on my thoughts for the lane was, and like how I approached it. It's kind of a game where things go off the rails and we lose really quickly. Um,
Okay.
but I'm kind of I don't know. I feel like the win was when I got like a decent lane, but the last other games have all been rough lanes. So maybe it's something I need to like.
You think it might actually be the lane
Maybe I'm
phase.
not
Yeah.
maybe I'm not adjusting to a rough lane well enough.
Fair. Okay. Sounds
You know,
insightful too.
uh,
Well, in this one, your stats are blast hits are a little low. You have the least
yeah,
deaths, which is fine. That's good. Damage is right around where it should be. Like stat wise, seems fine.
yeah.
I can see on the graph it's pretty bad though. So let's see if we can identify it really quick. If anything was getting weird here.
So the one thing I'll note where I know the game kind of went off the rails for us, especially my game, was around the time Void and Witch Doctor hit 6,
Mm-hmm.
they just slammed their ults into us. And
Mm. Yeah, okay. So they had a good timing thing
yeah.
there. All right, let's have a look.
So my idea for this lane, I kind of realized pretty quickly. One thing I messed up was not getting a quelling. I don't know why with Beastmaster I've just been forgetting to get a quelling, but I realized Faceless Void comes into the lane with like very little regen. I think he has a stick, and that's basically it.
Okay.
So I'm like, that's pretty good for me because with wild axes, I want to trade.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Uh,
makes sense.
so originally the idea was like, okay, I'm gonna trade with him, and then I'll probably opt for regen, maybe like Vanguard or something, to keep like my trading going. But for a while, he just didn't really have like an answer to my axes, and I was zoning him off the creep wave pretty decently.
Mm-hmm.
So I opted to go for magic boots instead. That way I could just keep on pumping out wild axes towards him, and it felt like it was working. But the thing was, I think me and Abaddon really weren't on the same page about it, because Abaddon's continually pulling, and I didn't realize the effect that that was having until a little later. And I'm like, well, this is like preventing the interactions from happening. Like, I want to interact with him in this lane.
Okay, okay.
You know, I win the interaction.
Yeah, right.
And like, you also want to trade.
Right.
You know, like you throw shield on me, curse of Avernus on him, you know what I mean? Like,
So you think maybe this Abaddon's kind of griefing the lane a little bit?
I that's how I felt. I want to see if that's correct.
Okay.
Because you know, obviously, like, you lose your lane, you get pissed. What is my lane partner doing? So I haven't reviewed this after, so I kind of want to see from your eyes if it was more him or if I was not taking advantage of what he was doing properly.
Well, so okay, let's look at. So here's how I would look at this coming into this lane. Like I'm either playing the Abaddon or I'm playing the Witch Doctor. I'll give you the support perspective. Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys are going to push the lane harder than they will because you have a Photic Shield and you have axes, and they have next to no AoE. Like, I don't count Cask. It sucks. Void has no AoE. So the way this is going to work, probably naturally, because your main harassment tools are AoE, is you guys will naturally push, right? So that gives Abaddon the opportunity to do pulls because they're going to have the creep wave in their face all the time.
Right.
That means their pulls are less important because they're going to be stuck under tower all the time. So blocking this camp, not so much of a big deal for the Abaddon, but he needs to make sure this camp is unblocked because that's going to happen. Either way, either it means we're pushing and it's bad, we don't want to be up this far, or we're pushing and it's fine and we get to punish them by pulling.
Yeah.
Both things are fine, right? And from your perspective, like, if you're like, well, this is a good matchup for me, I can beat Faceless Void, you know, like, just 1v1, right? That's fine, but it's also really good if Void is just constantly missing 50% of the creeps.
Right.
That achieves pretty much the same thing. If you're harassing him out of lane and he has to miss creeps that way or spend that money on regen, that's kind of the same thing as just all those creeps getting denied and he's out of XP range, right? Yeah. So the other thing is it's a ranged melee versus a double melee. So if this is a straight, like, stand-up game, my initial impression would be like, well, we're unfavored because they have a ranged and we don't. And I'd be thinking as the Abaddon maybe about, like, dragging a wave here and there, doing more pulls, because I don't want the Witch Doctor to be standing next to the Void clicking you all the time, right? That'd be the other thing I'm thinking about. So with all that in mind, so far what he's done is made it so you didn't take any damage at all. Like, he tanked a crap ton and just distracted this Witch Doctor on the left for, like, the first 2 waves, right? And now he's beaten up and you're fine, and the Void is a little bit below you, right? You still have tank. That's
Yeah.
he didn't buy any tangos, right? But based on that interaction, like so far, it's gone okay.
Yeah.
And then if we look at last hits, yeah, Void has 3 and you have 6 last hits and 1 deny. So like whatever, you guys are winning the lane right now. And
Yeah.
you just hit level 2 ahead of them. So like you're definitely like if this keeps going this way, you're winning,
Yeah.
which is fine. The other
think,
thing I'd be thinking about real
alright.
quick is that you have a lot of harass potential, but without like a lot of Boar slow and a lot of like Curse of Avernus slow, you're not going to kill this Void because the Void can
Yeah.
just time walk. Like this is actually really similar to the Morphling game we just looked at. It's actually really hard to kill this core because he has
Yeah.
natural defense. So I wouldn't be expecting to ever kill the Void. I'd be
Yeah.
expecting to outtrade him, beat him on efficiency, beat him in levels, and then blow his tower up. That's how I win
Yeah.
this lane,
That's
right?
what I was thinking. So that's what I kind of realized. I was like, I can keep throwing axes, but at will, they're like, Abaddon can't throw something out to keep him in place, and I can't do that till level 6.
Right.
And around that time, unless I'm like really like beating him in lane, you know, he's gonna be close to 6, and that's when he can kind of turn.
Mm-hmm.
So that was initially what I was thinking, was like, I can at least zone him off of his creeps that he wants to be hitting and hit that tower until it drops, and then, you know, I have the lane, you know?
Yeah.
And I think part of the problem is, like, I think that the pulls were good initially, but Abaddon ends up pulling at like 13 minutes, and I'm like, it actually, I think it ends up getting me killed because I try to stop it.
At 13 minutes?
Yeah.
That's pretty far into the game. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see. So this pull he's doing right now is fine for you. I guess it's fine. And I would connect these creeps so he's not contesting this camp by himself. Because you guys know that so far you guys have been stronger, right?
Yeah.
So that means you can fight over this camp. Or at least
Gotcha.
fight on it. You don't have to, you're not scared of them. You don't have to,
Yeah.
you're not trying to freeze the lane here necessarily. Obviously, the more you can freeze the lane back, it opens up more kill potential.
Yeah.
But you don't need it to be back here, is the other
Yeah.
thing, right? You're fine with it being here because you're stronger and you can fight them off of a pull, right?
Yeah.
So I would be connecting this to the pull, first off.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then they 2v1 the Abaddon here and they get to contest these creeps.
That makes sense. I think that's definitely a mistake on my part, because that would force the game that I'm trying to play, where either you come to the creeps and you have to take the wild axes, or you just don't get any of the creeps. And I can just like take creeps and deny as much as I want. So
Right.
yeah, that makes
So
sense.
so basically, and I'm not saying necessarily that the pull he just did was correct. It was just fine,
Right.
right? It wasn't actually necessary. Like the lane was going to reset. Um. So, but it's like once he's done it, you should just like go to him. I think, right?
Yeah.
Now, and also the other thing is, as long as these creeps are getting denied, make sure you're denying all these creeps here. Like Void is missing creeps from this interaction. So that's fine too. Like, you still have the last hits open. You're 13 and 2 to Void 7 and 0. And then Abaddon has 6 and 4, and Witch Doctor is 7 and 5. So Witch Doctor is getting more last hits than Void is because of all these jungle creeps. We can speed up a little bit. So Abaddon is playing this lane very semi-defensively and semi efficiency. That's the way he's mapped out. Like if we had to ask him, like, Abaddon, what were you trying to do? He might say the same type of thing, like, oh, I just wanted to pull a lot so avoid miss creeps and we could, out harass him and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Which is because we've identified, because the Void has the escape, like that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. So again, it's actually just like the Morphling lane. It's you beat him on efficiency. You beat him on creep score, you deny him, you add XP him. So that would translate to making sure you're trying to deny all of these creeps. Because if you notice, like, even when you do a bunch of damage to him, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's fine. And he has a full wand.
Right.
So specifically harassing Void with spells like this, not so good.
Yeah.
The best way I've found to beat a Void in lane is through dots.
Yeah.
Dots are really annoying because they either last so long that the stupid the
You're
time
only
walk.
getting rid of so much damage.
Yeah, like the time walk
Yeah.
is like only getting rid of so much or not getting rid of anything because the dot's lasting so long, or he time walks and he's still taking damage, right? Because it's
Yeah.
not also a dispel. But yeah, you know, there's really no kill potential on this Void.
Yeah.
And what I would also say, like, from the Abaddon's perspective, is once the lane's kind of in this spot, like, you didn't need to be here anymore. Like, you're good. Void doesn't threaten you. It looks like Void doesn't threaten you. The Witch Doctor's not trying to threaten you. And you guys can't kill this guy anyway. So he's actually not contributing anything, and Void is getting ahead of you on levels. So that is a bad thing from him. That was like a really big thing. Said, look, he's like full health off that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, he used his wand, I think, but that was one of the big things. Like BSJ was trying to teach me was, you know, like if the core doesn't need you here for something, then you shouldn't be here. Basically, like
Right.
if you're here and that allows him to like get a last hit or get a deny because you're like getting harassed or you're helping him get the last hit or whatever the hell. Or you're here and that means he's not getting zoned off the XP, then it's good. But if like neither of those things are true, then there's just no reason for you to be here. And that's where supports are supposed to like go make stacks, go get the power runes, go get the bounty runes, maybe make a rotation to another lane and go fight, right? Like if the core is chilling, you don't need to be here, right? But I like your decision to go arcane boots because you haven't even spent your tangos yet. Because you're taking actually no damage.
Yeah. And this is, I think, at the point where I kind of make a mistake. I know kind of what they're going to gear up to do. Because I realized that, I think Witch Doctor hit 6. And I know that's, like, they're gearing up, but I didn't really know, how, like, what, do I just walk away from the lane now? Like, you know what I
like
mean?
how to deal with the chrono thing?
Yeah, like, how do I deal with Chrono and Task into... Because I see this is where I'm like, okay, he's 5, he's gonna hit 6.
Yeah.
Now is like I'm not completely sure like how to maneuver. Like I think maybe I realized he was in the trees and maybe I should have thrown wild axes into the trees to cut them down so he can't kind of sneak around.
Are you talking about when chrono happens or like right now? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I see. Let's see. To be honest, it might not be worth worrying about. Like, they kind of do that, and that's their shot, right? Like they've kind of blown their load.
Yeah.
Your ult, even though it wasn't cast in this fight, let's just say that your ult was cast in this fight, and
Yeah.
this still happened, right? His
Right.
chrono is 160 seconds. Your ult is going to be 100 seconds.
Yeah.
So, let's say you casted the roar here. You would just come back to the lane again, and then you would have roar before he'd have chrono, and now you would threaten him again because he doesn't
Yeah.
have this. This is like the only way he kills you is this exact thing, right? And it's
Yeah.
really, I don't think you're just supposed to abandon the lane, but just because he's 6 and wait for him to chrono. I think like
Yeah.
them committing both of these ults to kill you is like, okay, sure, they get a little bit of gold, but it's not like on my mid, it's not on my carry, it's on me. It's gotta, it basically what I'd be saying, what I'd be thinking to myself is like, this chrono had to go down on someone, right?
Right.
And he's using it to kill me, and it's debatable whether he actually even needed to use it. Like, I think he would have almost just died to just the Witch Doctor in this case.
Yeah.
You can look at it once you go non-invisible. Yeah, I mean, I think Witch Doctor almost just solo kills you right here.
Right.
Oh shit. It was pretty close. It was pretty
Yeah.
close. I don't think he maybe even needed to use Chrono to kill you, but he did. And I
Yeah.
basically what I'm saying is like this is kind of unavoidable unless you were willing to roar the Witch Doctor.
Yeah.
That's really it. That's the only counterplay. Because like you were saying, like the only other thing you could do is just never show up to this lane again. That seems silly, right? Because you were winning this lane,
Right.
and the other lanes aren't doing well. So if we abandon all three lanes, we lose the game. Basically, like that's my thinking now. If you're just like, oh, it's too dangerous to be here, and mid's like, oh, it's too dangerous, and we have a Spectre, and oh, it's too dangerous. You guys just lose the entire map, and then that's it, right?
Yeah.
So we need to keep fighting for this lane, even if this is going to happen. I wouldn't worry too much about this. Witch Doctor even got the freaking kill on you. So you gave up 380 gold. Basically, run it back. You know, like, okay, that's fine. I still have Roar because I didn't even cast it in that fight. I just come back and just go back to doing the same thing, and now I get to threaten him with Roar, right?
Yeah.
And you guys are actually, you're coming up on a good timing here because Spectre is getting close to 6.
Yeah.
And at this phase of the game, it's reasonable to expect like maybe Jakiro could show up as well, and you guys could kill this guy.
Yeah.
Maybe. Doesn't have to be. So yeah, just come right back here. And then just start pressuring him again. Just go right back to what you were doing, because now they can't stop you. So the only mistake I would say is like from here is if I see you playing like really, really passively, that would be the screw up.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, that's part of like.
I'll give you this though. This pull is stupid as shit though. This pull is dumb because it's a catapult wave.
Yeah, and up until I think is Witch Doctor pulling too?
Yes, they're both pulling the catapult wave.
Yeah, so we just hit the tower for free if he doesn't do this.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
that was like
it's okay. This is objectively a mistake, but yeah, what are you gonna do? Well, in your case, what are you gonna do? You're gonna clear this wave as fast as freaking possible so that you get back to pushing. That's what you do. But yeah, no, this is bad. Abaddon, if you're watching, don't do a pull on the catapult wave when the tower has 30% HP. Not good. So I would just be like not letting this happen is the trick here. So avoid separating these waves is actually screwing you a little bit. So I'll show you why. So he gets all the creeps to follow him. So now the catapult is isolated. This is the objective right now, this catapult, right?
Yeah.
So these waves kill each other. You're diving.
Well, I think Witch Doctor ults me, and that's why I react to it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have a second wave with no catapult. Catapult is still back here fighting this.
Yeah.
It is now stacked for itself, by the way. This catapult is playing the efficiency game, man. Look at this thing. Let's put it on free camera. Yo, look at this. Oh, he hits at the 53. Dude, the attack lands at 53. Dude, this guy's a fucking gamer. Look at that. Oh, yeah, perfect stack. Oh, look at that. That's fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you need to fix this, obviously. Like, you do not want this catapult stuck here, but you need to time it with the wave. So basically, let's run it back a little bit so we can see the events here. So the silly pull happens. Void interrupts the silly pull, but doesn't get the catapult. This catapult AI is whack. So if this wave runs under tower and dies right away, then this wave and the catapult push up and kill your catapult. So you need to time this such that like either this wave doesn't go under tower, or you can stall this catapult being alive long enough for the next wave to come up and defend it. Which is possible, right? This took long enough for these creeps to die, where this second wave could be effectively the same wave. Alright, reset. Okay, both catapults are still alive. A second wave has showed up. So we're in the same boat again, except this wave is even stronger, the one under tower here. So now it's actually the same thing. So now if this dies, and this doesn't die, then this catapult also dies. So what you should be doing here is clearing this jungle camp. Like,
Yeah.
kind of in... Once this goes under tower here, you want to time it such that if you kill this right now, that would mean the catapult would run under tower and die, right?
Right.
So you want to time it in line with this wave meeting up. So you would want basically the catapult to de-aggro right when this wave gets here. Like that would be the perfect timing. Catapult de-aggros and then goes back on its normal path of running towards the tower, but it has a wave to defend it. So right now this needs to die. Or now. Or now. It needs to die.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it plays out with this still going like this. Okay, this catapult has pulled for itself over here. Catapults are so whack, man. He's clearing the wave over here. Now you're clearing this one. So now we're resetting again. This is the third wave with the same catapult. And then this is the downside. This is what you don't want to happen. You don't want the entire wave to run into this catapult. Not because we're worried about our own tower dying, because you can very easily tank this wave and kill the catapult. But this catapult dying means that pushing this tower down might have to wait for another 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, we'll say 4 minutes or whatever, because it's got to run down the wave. But down the line. Okay, so it gets aggroed off the catapult. This is the story of the little catapult, man. And it's dead, and you got the last hit. Okay. But now you end up in this position.
Yeah.
The fourth wave has showed up. And his catapult is still alive.
Yeah.
So scuffed. Yeah. And he's got Chrono again. You're about to have Roar. Because now you guys are playing aggressive again, but you don't have a catapult.
Yeah.
So any damage you do is just you and the boar and the creeps.
Yeah. And this is where I die because he goes for another pull.
Let's see. So he's doing
He does that. I try to interrupt it.
You're trying to interrupt that pull?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need to. Yeah, you don't need to try and stop that pull.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. So the Abaddon pulling is screwing it up a little bit. I think in that instance, though, like, let's just imagine that you didn't do anything. You just let whatever Abaddon was doing happen.
Yeah.
Let's try and picture what happens here. I went back a little bit too far, but let's see. Okay, so we're gonna imagine you don't do anything, right?
Yeah.
So this connects over here, and then now you guys are both here with the wave, and then they have to come up to contest. It's kind of the same thing, really. The only difference is that Shadow Demon is initiating on you when you're standing here instead of when you're standing here, so he gets maybe like a little bit less right clicks in or something like that.
Yeah.
Also, if you let the pull happen, this wave would be up here with the void. And they could have just done the same thing, really. So it didn't really matter.
Yeah. No, I mean, the whole, I didn't even know obviously the Shadow Demon was there. So I'm thinking like, okay, I just need to like interrupt this pull and get this shit back on track so we can hit this tower for, however many times I've been trying to hit the tower. But obviously Shadow Demon there like makes all of it kind of like shitty.
So I think you should have known that he was there. He appeared on a ward.
Yeah.
Back a little bit too far, but oh no, we're good. Let's see, where does Shadow Demon come from? Is he? Yeah, you see him walk under a ward.
Yeah.
So we're ignoring the pulls. We're gonna chalk this whole thing up to you didn't look at the ward.
Yeah.
Basically, because you knew he was here. It's not like he was smoked.
Right.
Other than that, I mean, the only other thing you could do is like roar the Shadow Demon here defensively,
Yeah.
or try and roar this Void before he gets Chrono off, or maybe roar him right now. I think you're gonna die regardless there. I don't know. Also, theoretically, if you bought your Vanguard by this point,
Yeah.
you had the money for it. So you could have an extra 250 health, and that might make the difference. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe not. You just took 1,000 damage from that spell. Okay. All right. Does that
But I
answer
mean,
the
still,
questions? I mean, this lane is super messy, and
yeah.
I understand like why you're getting frustrated for it, but it's actually kind of like it's scuffed regardless of all of
Yeah.
this.
But I think like I also let my frustration kind of like make me focus on like, okay, I need to interrupt this guy because I think he's doing something fucking stupid instead of like paying attention to the map and then like, you know,
Hmm.
the catapult and shit like that and like, okay, this happened. What do I do now? Like, how do I make the best of it? Besides
Yeah.
obviously communicating to him, which I did. I told him like, hey, can you stop pulling? And he just kept on doing it. So at least
Hmm.
that I can say on that part, I did that at the very least.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. I want to go back to a certain point because I think it was around here. When was it? You haven't died yet at this point. I think it's after Witch Doctor kills you, and you come back in. So this is all minutia, right?
Yeah.
But right now, so this is like a potential power spike moment for you because you have your ult and they don't have their ults.
Yeah.
So like, if you play the next minute and a half or whatever, minute 47 seconds, if you play that right, then this could be a win for you.
Yeah.
And that's the trade-off of them, choosing to ult you right there, right? So how is that achieved? And I think it does have to do with this whole catapult nonsense. Because like this is basically like
Yeah.
this point is the strongest you guys have been so far. Like, yeah, you've
Yeah.
been harassing him and all that stuff, but like, no, okay, got catapult, got a full wave, got a point and bore, we have our ultimate, we're both here. They don't have ults. Like, I think if you just make sure this, like, okay, he's pulling, boom, all right, immediately,
Yeah.
like, just kill this camp straight away, like,
Yeah.
boom, and then this should reset, and maybe the waves like tussle a little bit. You get a little bit of free damage because these are stuck here. You don't know that necessarily, but like they're stuck here.
Yeah.
I think the tower could have died right here.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then that cascades throughout the whole game where the next stupid pull at 13 minutes, like that doesn't even happen because there's no one's standing here because this
Yeah.
tower's dead. Right. So this was an opportunity right here.
Yeah.
And then when he de-aggroes like this, so he recognizes like, okay, I don't want them pulling on me. I don't know if he knows exactly why he doesn't want you pulling on him, but the way he did it worked out really well.
Yeah.
He might just be thinking in terms of XP, right?
Right.
Because it's bad for you guys to pull here, like we know that. But he goes to interrupt it. So then what can you do?
Yeah.
So the best thing you can do here is try to aggro these creeps onto yourself.
Yeah.
By right clicking him, right clicking the creeps, like frantically, just like clicking back and forth and like hoping these like shoot you so that all
Yeah.
these creeps go here so that you can keep the wave and the catapult together. That's the whole point of
Yeah.
doing this, right?
Yeah.
But if that fails, like let's say it just wasn't possible, objective B is not this roar, because this roar, like I realize it's defensive, but the
Yeah.
reality is like you shouldn't be under their tower right now.
Yeah.
because this is the next important thing. This
Yeah.
catapult, right? So we're gonna get any kills here. I don't really care. I don't care if we get any kills here. I want this tower dead. So how did this dive happen? I'm so sick of this invis bug, dude.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of it. All right, let's watch it. So you follow the creeps a little bit. See him getting kind of low.
Yeah. I think it was because of like roar range. I'm like, I have the feeling like, okay, if I just catch him real quick and wild axe him, like he's dead.
Yeah.
Then he's gone. We take this tower easy. He ends up getting behind the trees, so I'm like, all right, I gotta pivot around the tower now, and then I get jumped on by Witch Doctor, and it's like, well, now I gotta fucking either I die or I roar, and I roar.
Yeah, which is fine once you're in that instance, but you also need to look at the cause and effect. So like,
Yeah.
Witch Doctor is not likely to have ulted you had you not been under the tower to begin with, right?
No, for sure.
So then
Sure.
once you do that and his response is correct and then your response is correct because you're stopping that, but now you don't have it for
Yeah.
the moment. Like what you want is you want this entire wave to be hitting the tower and you're dropping roar at that point.
Yeah.
It's synced with the other things going on. See if we can see it again real quick. Or is this all... Wait, what the hell's going on here? I'm so confused. Did I go back too far? Yeah. God damn it. Its catapult's been here for so long. Okay. Yeah. So just imagine this whole interaction is going on, but this whole freaking wave is standing here shooting the tower while it's happening, right? So then what your roar is actually doing is stopping someone from attacking the creeps for 2.75 seconds. That's like what it achieves, right? Because with the Abaddon, especially with Abaddon's positioning over here, you're not really gonna get a kill here. I guess he's trying to wrap around to like catch the void if he time walks out or something. But like you guys don't have a wave. I mean, because the wave kind of dies. This whole thing is just so friggin' messed up. Let's play 1x speed. Watch this creep wave. Yeah. So what I'd be focusing here, once I'm in this position, I'm under tower with the wave. I'd be focused on killing this wave.
Yeah. And I think also just my pathing was stupid. Like if he walks into the trees, don't walk around the tower, just walk back towards their camp. And then that also avoids this interaction.
You mean trying to walk around the right over here?
No, so he goes into the trees.
Yes, right here.
And then going over here, yeah.
Oh, I see.
Just walk back towards the camp.
Just down this way?
No,
up.
to the yeah.
I see.
Because that avoids that completely.
Sort of. Yeah. I mean, so like if you ran under tower and like you were just hitting these creeps and Witch Doctor ulted you then like defensively roaring and walking up would be fine.
Yeah.
But I think you just need to recognize like don't even try and kill this void, basically. I guess that's the lesson here. Just don't even bother, right?
Definitely like I mean it was like if this has been so fucked up in the lane, if I get this at least, then we can finally make something happen. But I should have been focusing on those sorts of things. And I think honestly it's like a good lesson to take because like I think these things happen and then it's like I don't think about how I can reset the catapult and potentially like get back on track with it. I kind of chalk it up to like, all right, well it's fucked.
Yeah, it's all fucked. It's ruined. Yeah, definitely. Well, that's the thing, right? So, you know, if the 5-minute catapult gets fucked up, you're going to have one on 10. And so this is something I'm trying to learn a lot right now, too, is syncing up the timing of things, right? So, like, really good play would look like, all right, 5-minute didn't work. I just need to make sure that at 10 minutes, I'm ready. That means I'm not dying at 9 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm not roaring a random shadow demon walking around the jungle. Like I'm saving everything for that moment. We're gonna put everything together. We're gonna make sure our supports have TPs. They're ready to show to our lane. Like sync everything up. and then that's how you like get stuff done cleanly. Because otherwise, like they're putting up a pretty good defense to this tower for the most part, minus these pulls that have happened. Otherwise, this tower is not going to die with the way they're defending it, right? Because basically what they're doing is they're just killing you, and that stops you from pushing.
Yeah.
So everything's got to come together at the same time. Um, even maybe waiting for like, oh, let's make sure Abaddon has his ult too. You know. So I would say like this one right here, like maybe theoretically, because Chrono's already been used, it's possible like that you can like outfight them to like kill this tower with this specific catapult. If Chrono hadn't been used, then I would say like, well, maybe we gotta wait for like the 15 catapult for it to happen because Abaddon doesn't have 6th right now, As an idea of like trying to sync up timings and everything, right? Obviously, the sooner we can kill the tower, the better.
Yeah.
So, does that answer the questions you had about this one?
Yeah, for sure. I do. I feel very good about that because some of those like lane dynamics are things that I don't think about that I think are more fundamental that aren't just like a Beastmaster type of thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I figured with this is like this is not like obviously some of it is like comes down to like being a melee or being somebody who throws a lot of spells, but it felt more like those dynamics are kind of what were affecting the lane the most,
Yeah.
more so than me playing Beastmaster.
Yeah, creep equilibrium definitely getting messed up a lot here. It's just that it's more important to you because you are quote unquote a pushing hero. I mean,
Yeah.
Boar doesn't actually do that much damage to the tower, right?
Yeah.
Um, but it is a little bit more important for you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Were there any other questions about this game?
No, not really. It's just kind of, I mean, like, if there's anything we could have done differently as far as later into the game, but I really don't think so because it ends up just with like I think the other lanes are also kind of fucked up, and then
Yeah.
they just sort of death ball us, typical.
Yeah, I mean, you got a Spectre, which is already, I'm gonna be honest, I feel like a Spectre in this patch is an automatic loss.
Yeah.
She's quite bad. And you have SF mid. So if you had, say, I don't know, Puck or Void Spirit or Pangolier or something else, some other active mid, you can kind of make this work. But you got a farming mid and a farming spec or safe lane as well. He's actually going for Kaya build, so he's not going like pure right click. But yeah, these two lanes aren't going well. So this lane kind of has to go well, and even if it does go perfectly, you've still got two lost lanes into
Yeah.
this insanely aggressive comp like Night Stalker Grimstroke. Like Jesus, no, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, thank you. Look how much stuff they get to double cast here. They got Witch Doctor cast. They got everything. By the way, Shadow Demon Grimstroke is a crazy combo.
Yeah.
Just so you
That's
know.
crazy.
It's nuts because of this guy's not even skilling it, but disseminate,
Yeah.
casting on both targets, and then they're both sharing damage with each other and everybody nearby. It's nuts. This guy's not even skilling it though, so their comp is really good. So yeah, this game's gonna be hard regardless. But that's like the main thing, just to get
Yeah.
this going faster. It's just like keeping your eye on the prize. Where is
Yeah.
their catapult? Where is my catapult? What are the spell statuses right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the one question I would have that's not really related to this game, but it's just kind of like a general Beastmaster question is like, and not even necessarily a general Beastmaster question, but kind of any of these sort of like unit-based heroes that can uh push towers down really quickly.
Yeah.
Um, Definitely like in this rank, people like know to look out for that. So I can't just like walk up to a tower and then it's just dead. People will start TPing really quickly and stuff. Um, how should I approach that? Like, should it be like me? Should I be trying to walk up, hit the tower, walk back, bait out TPs, and kind of work that way? Should it be like I farm camps nearby and send my creeps to hit the tower?
I think it's a little bit of what we were just talking about, where
Yeah.
it's trying to synchronize things. So I guess let's go back to this topic. Why do the towers normally die? Usually in your games, like what's allowing the tower to die?
Normally, because heroes are dead and they can't stop us from doing it.
Right. So it's like the
Yeah.
heroes are hitting the tower. What might
Yeah.
be another instance where a tower dies?
Um,
My music stopped. I want to turn the music back on.
Enemies like ignore a big creep wave.
Yep, people just not paying
Yeah.
attention to it. What might be another way a tower dies?
Um,
We've got heroes are dead and can't defend. Heroes aren't bothering to defend. What's the third one?
uh, it could be that we're strong enough to where we want to force a fight. It would be advantageous for us for them to fight us on the tower.
Yeah. Um, well, what I was getting at really is that you have specifically sieging heroes that
Yeah.
like can kind of kill the tower whether or not they're defending it. So that
Yeah.
example, the best example is sniper, where he just sits outside the tower range and just blinks it, and then all you got to do is defend sniper.
Yeah.
Or like a freaking nature's prophet, or if you get like multiple summons heroes together, you have like an enchantress and a nature's prophet, and they're just sending hordes at the tower, and like the enemy team like can't kill it fast enough while you're all clicking on the tower. That'd be another way. So like the siege creeps enabling the push to be strong enough, or like your team being strong enough to where you actually can't be contested while you're doing it. And that's the summons play into that a little bit, but usually what's going on, I think, is that these summoning heroes are really just accelerating the tower dying when it would have kind of died anyway.
Yeah. That's what I kind of thought. Like, I think more so like Nature's Prophet is somebody who can force those situations because he can TP. They start TPing, he just TPs out, and if he loses his trees, it's not that big of a deal. Whereas with
Yeah,
Beastmaster, it's not as simple
he
as that. And
Nature's
I think,
Prophet is a little bit of an edge case because he can
yeah,
teleport anywhere and summon anywhere. The other
yeah,
ones can't do that so much. So Nature's Prophet is like it's kind of like playing against a Ricky, where it's like, well, what does that mean? It means we're gonna waste a lot of money on sentries and dust and the gem, right?
yeah,
That's what it
yeah,
actually translates to. What Nature's Prophet translates to is like all of my towers are going to freaking die unless this guy's dead all the time, right? Like that's just what
yeah,
happens. Or conversely, we have a Treant Protector. All of our towers are going to stay alive a lot longer than they normally would.
right, yeah,
The other pushing heroes, though, like Lone Druid, Enchantress, Chen, Beastmaster. Uh, what's another one? I don't really want to say Broodmother because Broodmother's a little bit like Nature's Prophet, and that she just is so overwhelming. These other ones are usually pretty easy to contest. Like you just show up and you just like throw spells at the creeps and they piss off, right? Like you just kill the boar, you know. You dive the Lone Druid and just kill him, and then the bear doesn't do that much, right? Or whatever. um, or like a Chen, right? It's like the creeps don't actually do that much. The creeps are usually all they're doing is they're tanking tower shots. Like they are contributing damage, but it's not like so big.
yeah,
It just means that it's sort of like you showed up to the tower and you had like two creep waves instead of one,
yeah,
right? It's just harder to get everything out of the way so the tower can actually be safe. But basically, to answer your actual question, like how do we basically well, the question is like how do we turn pushing heroes into dead towers, right?
yeah,
It would be either a little bit of this where your tower is 100% health and theirs is like 30% because you've been constantly shoving the wave into their tower and like hitting it
yeah,
occasionally, but really it's the pushing power of killing the creeps that's doing the damage. It's not a 20 damage boar that's
yeah,
doing the damage, right? It's your axes are actually what are like damaging this tower. Like it's out trading the faceless void that is causing tower damage, not the
yeah.
boar.
Yeah, I told you how it felt. Like there's certain when you get over Helm of the Overlord, there's certain ancient creeps that you can get that like damage towers really well. But
Mm-hmm.
it felt like for the most part, it's like you don't force these situations. It's just when these situations happen now it's extra bad for the enemy because you can capitalize off them even better.
Yeah, and I think that is going to be most of the time. That's how that's going to look.
Yeah.
When you get to a higher level, I'm not even there yet, by the way. My games don't even look like this. I'm talking
Yeah.
about like you watch pro games and they pick Enchantress and the commentator's like, oh, all the towers are going to fall or whatever. And then you play Enchantress in your game and you're like, what? That never happens, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
because they have all these timings and they're synchronizing them. So it's not just like the boar is like a huge tower threat. It's the fact that there's boar and they have roar and Jakiro has showed up and he has macropyre and Spectre has haunt and all 5 people showed up at the same time and they got a kill and then they ran at the tower and then it's like the enemy team's like, we're not even gonna fucking bother defending this
Yeah.
because they're just investing in it so much and they're gonna kill it so quickly that it doesn't even cost them that much to bring everyone down here and kill this tower,
Yeah.
right? Because with most comps that have no pushing power, like let's say the enemy team, right? Like Void, Grimstroke, Witch Doctor, Night Stalker, Shadow Demon. If they 5 mana tower, you're like, what the hell are you doing? Like, it's not efficient for you guys. You have no specific tower damage or summons or anything like that. So they're actually investing time. If you guys do it, like, it's actually. No, we actually kill the tower, like, pretty quickly. So it's not so bad for us to do this.
Yeah.
And so because it's not so bad for you to do it, then the other smart team realizes, like, it's not even worth it for us to defend this. So then they try and, like, split push. Usually, good pushing strats have Death Ball written into it. It's not
Yeah.
just we picked 5 pushing heroes. It's we picked pushing heroes that are backed up by strong team fight. So we're pushing you, and you can't fight into us while we're pushing.
Yeah.
You know, like look at like any TI where they're like picking Enigma or Enchantress or Chen, and that's usually what the tower deaths look like. When
Yeah.
assuming the other team isn't dead, it's because like they actually can't even be contested while they're pushing. And then other than that, it's like we killed their whole team, run down a lane, and kill all the towers. Like obviously that's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So for you, in the lane phase, you know, chipping down the tower like this by pushing in, like this is fine. And then other than that, it's grouping with your team as a Beastmaster and like forcing a fight where you think you can win the fight, and then that results in like a little bit more tower damage, right? But until
Yeah.
you get Helm, and until you, or like either you max Boar and you get double Boars, or you get Helm, or you get Helm with the Overlord, you don't actually have a lot of tower damage as a Beastmaster. You push, you don't have Siege. They're
Yeah.
2 separate things. Some heroes have both, like a Pugna has pushing and siege damage because the same spell is
Yeah.
doing the same thing, right?
Yeah. For sure.
Jakiro is a good example as well, where like he does a little bit of chip damage with liquid fire, but mainly the way he pushes is just by like burning creep waves down.
Right. Yeah.
So basically it's a comp thing. So you would have to look at your comp and see like how strong is our team fight versus theirs. So we had specific questions for this one. So lesson summary. So question 1, were the pulls screwing you up or not? Or like, was the way Abaddon playing this making it harder for you or not? Like that was kind of your first question, right?
Yeah.
Your lane. At first, no. At first, it was playing into the strategy that you should have been doing, and that we're not actually going for kills, we're going for efficiency and XP and gold, right? But when he pulled on the catapult wave, that did screw you up.
Yeah.
So at first, no, but during catapult wave, yes. Other than that, I think what the Abaddon was doing was kind of fine. I mean, maybe he could have stood with you in lane and like punched the void and everything, but like, you know, it's actually not even that impactful if he does that.
Yeah.
Because then that just pulls the witch doctor to you, and now you're just 2v2ing in a lane, right?
Yeah.
So I think what he was doing was fine at first. Question 2. How do we ensure that tower dies at that point? What, after 10, right?
Yeah.
During scuffed pull. So the answer to that one is sync up the catapult with a creep wave. And that would mean, so either kill jungle camp immediately, or aggro jungle camp onto the wave, or defend catapult until next wave arrives, and then kill camp. So it syncs with wave. That all makes sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And
And
hope
then,
you don't get such a god gamer catapult that it fucking loops itself into a pole.
yeah, it fucking stacks for itself and pulls 3 times. Yeah, fucking sweet, dude. I love catapults. This guy's like, this Abaddon sucks. He's not even stacking before he pulls them, and show him how it's done. That's great. I love when shit like that happens. Okay, and then question 3. We'll talk more about this one next time. But the whole like, what does a? I guess it's just like, what does a pushing hero look like? Like, how does it actually achieve tower death? Right.
Yeah.
So basically, pushing heroes just push faster than everyone else. Usually. This is why Nature's Prophet got nerfed, right? Because he used to be able to just like TP in, summon these ridiculous treants, and then kind of push like, sometimes even if he didn't have a wave, he'd just kill it through freaking backdoor. It was stupid,
Yeah.
right? So usually pushing heroes just do it faster than the other heroes. It's not like we picked Beastmaster, let's go kill their tier 3.
Yeah.
You don't just murder the tower, right? It's just faster, so it's acceleration. Usually, pushing heroes need team fight to back them up and force tower pushes. Yeah, does that make sense? So I need a Tide Hunter standing behind me while I'm pushing, so they just can't contest it. That's pretty much it. Like, you need Death Ball to go with pushing. Other than that, if the game is extremely split pushy, then pushing heroes can be really annoying. But the meta has not really been that so far this patch. It's just, we're not seeing like any Nature's Prophet, you know, like even like a Tinker is not really like shoving a bunch of waves with like nanobots, right? It's kind of just like, it's all just team fight all the time. This idea of the split pushing, tower pushing hero just sort of like doesn't really exist this patch. Even heroes like Chen and Enchantress. Broodmother might be an exception, but Broodmother gets to do it because she just kills anyone who contests her anyway. So that's why she's like split pushing. She's not really split pushing, because split pushing implies that like you are doing it because you don't have any other option, and like if they show up you gotta leave. Where like Broodmother is just so freaking strong that she's a death ball push all by herself in some of these games, right? Is that making sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think that's like 3 things. So I hope that's like pretty useful. I hope that answers the question. I'm going to add on to question 1. Needed to play for efficiency because kill threat on void is basically non-existent. So yeah, so Abaddon's basic idea there with what he was doing made sense until it came to the catapults. Then it was bad. So yeah. All right, dude.
Yeah.
Cool. So what do we want to do for next steps? I think you maybe just continue with the like helm practice. We didn't get to see any of it there.
Yeah.
So we'll just keep that one. We're just gonna keep this homework and like copy paste it over and just do the same thing. And next week we'll make sure we like look at a game that has that in it.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be kind of like my aim for a replay, is like a replay where I'm taking advantage of that to knock a tower down.
Good. Okay. Yeah, that's what we'll aim for.
Yeah.
All right, man. Cool. Well, we can call it there. Good job on the Beastmaster practice. It seems like you
Oh
are.
yeah.
It seems like you are like what I saw with the board and everything. Like you are getting the hang of microing and stuff like that. I didn't get to see
Yeah.
much else, but it seems like it's kind of paying off. And you're thinking about the lane a lot better as well, like the matchup and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So that's good. I'm
Yeah.
definitely seeing
Definitely.
progress.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, that's kind of the thing. Like in comparison, to like me playing Street Fighter, uh, the way I have to think about progress is just different. Even in Street Fighter, you still have to think about like if you play a much better player, your goal isn't going to be to beat them because they're just much better than you. It's going to be they're using some move, like what is the answer to that move and how do I figure that out?
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of the same way in Dota. It's just way more that way because there's so much out of your control. You just have to focus on being the best player that you are.
Yeah.
And naturally, that should convert into MMR.
Yeah, if you
You
do it, if you
better.
do enough of it, if you've got
Yeah,
enough aggregate practice and enough different things, and it converts into like I'm now a better player and win on average more often. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, yeah. I think it's like kind of been a little bit difficult for me lately with like how much losses I've had compared to like a while ago when I was like, dude, I'm kicking ass. Like I'm getting a lot of wins now.
Hmm.
Um, it feels like we're hitting a little bit of a wall, but it's sort of, I mean, it's a good wall because it's something that it's like, okay, I need to kind of reflect on like getting a bunch of wins doesn't necessarily mean that I'm improving.
Yeah,
All it means is that I'm better than the people that I'm playing or I'm playing better than whatever, you know? But it
yeah,
doesn't actually mean that I'm improving. Going against these losses and learning from them is where the improvement happens.
definitely. And it
Yeah.
might, I mean, just as a, I don't know how much effort you want to put into Beastmaster and all that stuff, but just like as
Yeah.
a little bit of a warning, because the hero is so different than the heroes you normally play, it might be
Yeah.
a while before you start seeing like real progress. Where you're like, okay, I know Beastmaster, I know how to do all this stuff because your normal style is like blink initiators that do lots of
Yeah.
damage, and that's kind of Beastmaster can do that, but the damage part is the lacking part. Like he doesn't
Yeah.
really do a
Yeah.
ton, right?
No, yeah, he doesn't like really hang in there a ton until Ags, and if you're ahead, because even if you have Ags, it's not the game changer. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
heading on to I was already beating ass, now I'm really beating ass.
Yeah, it's supplemental, exactly.
Yeah. I have been playing. I did play a Darkseer game, and I played a ton of him, and it felt really good. And I think people have been talking about him being strong this patch.
Hmm.
Oh, it'll probably be. I do want to focus on Beastmaster because I do find this playstyle fun, and like when I was playing Darkseer, I happened to get a 70-minute Necronomicon, and that was so like such a good feeling to have the skills that I had developed with Beastmaster kind of transfer to the situation where it's like this is not a micro hero, but I have a micro item, and now I can kind of
Yeah,
micro it.
yeah,
It
that's
felt really
cool. That's awesome. That's super cool. Oh, did you cut out? Did I lose you? Oh shit. Man down! Guess we'll just wait a second.
there. We go. Hello.
Okay, we're good?
Okay.
Anyway, you were saying it felt really good to be able to micro with a necro book, right?
Yeah, yeah, that was really cool. So I do think I want to keep focusing on that because I do find like a lot of these micro heroes really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it keeps me the challenge of it does keep me um
Engaged.
like engaged with the hero
Yeah.
as opposed to like as I love like I'm good with Sand King, but it's like it's the same shit every game,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like I can't. It's harder for me to focus on him.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. Well,
But
so long as you're
yeah,
not losing that skill set, then that's cool, right? But
yeah, no, and I still want to kind of like bounce between a little bit to keep that, so I don't lose that, and just kind of see how the skills kind of transfer between both. Because I haven't played Beastmaster like that yet, and I know he like people do put blink on him, so
yeah,
maybe that will help there too.
I think so. Okay. Cool. We'll add that in then. Mix in Blink Dagger.
Cool.
Cool. All right, dude. Let's call it
All
there.
right.
And we'll aim for next Monday. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Cool. All right, man. Well, good job. Keep up the practice, and I will
Appreciate
talk to you next week then.
Hell yeah. All right. See you then.
All right. Later, dude.
Peace.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. If that was helpful, check out the playlist at the end of the video with my other Dota coaching videos. And check me out on Twitch at Mr. TV. I stream every weekday at 2 p.m. PST onwards. And I hope to see you there. Bye.